What will be the impact of Mr. Cohn's resignation?
Well, I think that Mr. Cohn has been a voice that has reached out to members of Congress, members of the United States Senate. It's been a way for us to have an additional entree into the Trump administration, and in that regard, the communications that could be diminished. But I assume that the president will appoint someone to fill that position in which that opportunity continues to exist. But certainly, Mr. Cohn has been a valuable ally to us in Congress as we've attempted to communicate with the Trump administration.
Does his resignation essentially guarantee steeper and broader tariffs?
Well, I think those of us who are worried about making certain that we don't do things in this country that diminish jobs, that slow economic growth related to trade, we know we've had an ally with Mr. Cohn, and the president indicates that he is interested in all voices. And so, again, it depends in part what position the person who replaces Mr. Cohn at the council, what position he or she takes. But again, it's been useful to have an advocate for the point of view that we need to be very cautious as we enter this effort in regard to Nafta, in regard to TPP, and now in regard to tariffs, both on washers and solar panels, now on aluminum and steel. So Mr. Cohn's perspective has been valuable to those of us who want to make certain that the opportunities to export and sell around the globe are enhanced, not diminished.
Senator, let's talk about that pro-growth agenda. Donald Trump as candidate advocated for it. He certainly has as president. You've done a lot of hard work up on Capitol Hill with the tax cuts, as well as the budget, to try to really get growth going in this country. How concerned are you that if, in fact, we become more protectionist, we put in tariffs, we end up maybe with a trade war, we could reverse some of that growth?
David, that's a concern. And what I said during the tax debate, I was a supporter of the tax bill in the Senate. What I indicated then is that Republicans often use the word that you just did, economic growth. By that we mean more jobs, better jobs, higher paying jobs, more secure jobs. That's what this is about. And I indicated back during the tax debate that the tax rates will matter a lot less. When lowering the tax rates to where they are with the passage of that legislation, they're going to be more meaningless. They're going to be of less value if we don't have income to which they apply. And states like mine, states like Kansas, but many others across the country, the people in our states earn a living by what we sell to other countries and their consumers around the globe. And so if you want to continue economic growth, if you want to continue the opportunity for a better job, that means that trade and exports matter greatly. It also means, again, the tax bill's benefits will be significantly diminished if you reduce the income to which those new tax rates apply.
So, Senator, you know particularly the state of Kansas and what the situation is with the economy there. We talked with Peter Navarro from the White House earlier today, and he said that he thought actually tariffs would be in favor of growth. It would help grow the economy more. Have you seen numbers that suggest that? What's your experience?
Well, my experience mostly in conversations. First of all, when it comes to exports, Kansas is an export state. We think of agriculture. We export a lot of wheat and cattle and corn, meat products. But we're also a manufacturing state. We manufacture a significant portion of the general aviation aircraft that are sold around the globe. Automobiles are manufactured in Kansas City, Kansas. Manufacturing jobs are a significant component in addition to agriculture. And in those circumstances, in conversations with people who work in those plants, they recognize that the input costs related to steel and aluminum have a consequence on the price available, what you're going to have to charge for that airplane, what you're going to have to charge for that automobile. And so consumers may react in a way that diminishes the demand. Again, in regard to the tax bill, one of the great features of the tax bill was immediate expensing of the purchase of equipment, including, for example, an airplane. We've worked to get that for seemingly a decade. It's in the tax bill. It encourages people to buy aircraft. But if the price of aircraft goes up as a result of tariffs, that diminishes that demand.
Senator, Commerce Secretary Ross again reiterated President Trump's stance that Canada, Mexico could be exempted from tariffs if we can work something out on NAFTA. You've met with their ambassadors this morning. What do they say about this new condition?
Well, certainly the ambassador I met with the ambassador from Mexico to the United States, the ambassador from Canada to the United States. They certainly make the point that these things are not related, that NAFTA stands alone. indicating that that's not going to be a tactic. This is what you would expect someone representing those countries to say. They're not going to use, they're not going to allow that to be a tactic to force negotiations or them to take a position contrary to what's in their best interest under NAFTA. So, I mean, again, we need to negotiate a NAFTA agreement. It needs to be long-term. It needs to provide certainty. And this issue of tariffs, particularly as it relates to Canada and Mexico, has taken, in a sense, the eye off the ball of getting a NAFTA agreement concluded, and now we're talking about tariffs. I think the point that was made in these discussions is if you're interested in other countries unrelated to NAFTA, that's a decision for the United States to make. But when it comes to Canada and Mexico, both of us are your allies. We want good things to happen in the United States. We're all in the economy together, Mexico, United States, and Canada.